Erin said, I came in and sat down. She said, Tom's coming up at 6:40. I said, what's that about? And we'll get to that in a second. She said, well, he had mentioned you and I indirectly yesterday. A, is that true? B, what is the context of that reference?
We had a caller yesterday on Gun Talk, actually during the after show, which is the podcast version. And he was telling me about something going on in Shreveport with a city councilman wanting to require people to have their guns locked in their cars. And I said, well, that's interesting. And I said, well, I'm sure that Aaron and Robert are going to be on this thing. So now I'm thinking, well, I need to get filled in on it. So I'm hoping you guys can tell me what's going on there.
So here's details. It's Councilman John Nickelson, a Republican, is saying that if you are going to keep a gun in your vehicle, an unattended vehicle, the weapon has to be either A, secured, locked in the trunk, or the glove box.
Or in a box that is permanently attached to the car. Like if you get a floorboard safe that's attached to your car, something like that.
And the object, the logic, as it were, is to prevent gun theft.
Sure.
Tell me, is that a bad idea? I mean, you know me, I'm a pretty big 2A guy. My instinct is that the worst idea in the world?
It's like everything else, Robert. It all depends on what kind of teeth they want to put into it, what are the penalties, and what are they actually going to require. If it's hey, you guys should do this, I have no problem with that.
It's not a should. It's $1,000 fine.
No.
Oh, yeah. $1,000 fine if your gun gets stolen out of your car and it was under your seat or it was in an unlocked glove box or it was in your console. It's $1,000 fine.
So you're victimized by being the victim of a theft. And then you're going to be fined on top of that for being a victim. This is boneheaded. Okay, all right. I was afraid that you were going to say something like that. This is one of those things where the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and there may be really good intentions with this, and I do understand that criminals do steal guns from cars. Unfortunately, if you are a concealed carry person, there are places where you can't take your gun, so you must leave them in your car. Now, I'm sure that the city council is not going to pay people to put in these lock boxes and these vaults. No. They just require you to do it and offer a penalty if you become the victim of a crime. This is one of those deals that somebody needs to explain to the city councilman. This is not only a bad idea, this is an anti-gun move. I would hope that we would have, 500 people show up at the city council meeting, explain to them that, no, this is a really bad idea. This is an anti-gun move. This is an anti-Second Amendment move. And this penalizes victims. That's nutty.
What's the harm, though, Tom? Most glove boxes lock these days. What's the harm in putting it in your glove box, locking your glove box?
There is no harm in that. The harm is saying we are going to penalize you if you don't do this. Here's where we are, is that, okay, we think this is a good idea. There's actually a better way to go here. How about if the city council says, we're going to put together and run a series of public service announcements on radio and television, encouraging and informing and educating people on the need to secure their guns. But putting, a penalty on this is just counterproductive. I understand, people should take care of their guns, but maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you shouldn't be penalized and cost you money when you are already the victim of a crime. Somebody's broken into your car, somebody stole your gun.
But your gun might kill a 2-year-old. You know what I mean? Do you see that end of the argument?
Oh, I do. And I don't disagree with you that people should do that. What I'm saying is the problem is when they say, but we're going to penalize you for being the victim of a crime. I mean, do you think that that's a good idea?
Started to jump in.
We ought to incentivize people?
I started to jump in a second ago. So in a nutshell, the Tom Gresham point is, we're the city of Shreveport. You got robbed. We're going to fine you $1,000.
Exactly. And then if they do that and they say, well, that didn't work, well, then we're going to also put in, a 6-month in jail prohibition on top of that. And then when that doesn't work, we're going to ramp that up. Penalizing the victim is not the right approach. How about, everybody always keeps talking about, well, education works. Yes, in fact, it actually does. How about an education campaign and work with the police departments and the sheriff's departments and and with the media and get the word out that this is how a lot of crooks get their guns. That would actually be helpful and productive and worthwhile. But this is a feel-good, look at me, what I'm doing, while at the same time saying, I don't really know what I'm doing. I would hope, I'm just going to make the call. I think that people ought to show up at the city council meeting and basically shout, not literally, but shout this thing down and say, no, this is the wrong approach to this, and we're not going to stand for it.
And it's proposed by a good old Republican.
You know, it's always interesting. Republicans are just as willing often to stomp on the Second Amendment as are Democrats. They seem to have no borders there. It's just a case of being authoritarian as opposed to being supporters of the Second Amendment and gun rights.